What's up, y'all? This is Linux Tech and Gaming, episode number 42. I'm Osiris, and this is... Who are you, guy?
I'm Systrom.
He's Systrom. Anyhow, you can find me on Twitter at Osiris and find him on Twitter at Systrom. Today we are going to talk about... Oh, well, just so you know, if you haven't noticed, we don't have a Wild Atomic. He's missing in action. He has, for some reason, he likes to play the game of real life. I find that game pretty boring. So no Atomic today, and we're going to even change our format a little bit further. We're going to only talk about like really one topic and try to keep it to 15 minutes if that's even possible. as long as there's no tangents, but we're going to do that today. Today we're going to talk about Vulkan because that is like the trending thing, and it has major implications for Linux. So do you want to give them a quick rundown of what Vulkan is?
I'll let you give a rundown of what your thought process is on Vulkan first, and then I will try to fill in any gaps that I.
Well, you know I like to subscribe to the KISS method, so I'm just gonna give it the most simple. Vulkan is an API. An API is basically a way to communicate with devices and software. So it's a graphics API. And that means that, and it's a low-level one, unlike OpenGL or DirectX 11. And what that means is that developers, if they choose to, keep in mind, keep that stuck in the front of your mind, choose to, write lower level code to access the hardware closer to the metal, they can get much better control of that hardware, which usually means for you much better performance. Obviously, that means a way big deal for us Linux users, who, according this is Systrom's phrase, we get the Linux tax because of porting processes. So this fits a lot of things, a whole lot of things. That's it in a nutshell.
Don't forget Mantle.
Right. So AMD created Mantle, which was a low-level API, graphics API, and so Mantle is defunct. It died.
No, Vulkan is the reiteration of Mantle.
Well, yes, but Mantle, as it were, is dead. Mantle gave way to DirectX 12 and Vulkan. So AMD is, I mean, if you can say AMD is the grandfather of Vulkan. That's
I would say, well, in my humble opinion, not to be taken that it's factual or anything like that, but in my humble opinion, I really think it's more of a situation of this, is that Vulkan is kind of a new take, because it's being controlled by the same people that implemented OpenGL, or at least the conservatory, as you want to call it, or conservators of OpenGL. Yes. So they are overseeing the implementation of Vulkan. But see, the thing is that Vulkan is also requires that developers like Intel and of hardware technology, developers like Intel and NVIDIA and AMD build drivers that take advantage of Vulkan. Now, will the Kronos Group actually take components and bring them back in and put them into OpenGL to allow compatibility layers within OpenGL and Vulkan? Looks like in some cases, there was a Phoronix article that was discussing a bunch of stuff, and they talked about that there were some drivers that they saw in NVIDIA that said maybe that's possible. But again, I'd have to see it and look at the documents and actually look at the white docs on it and really see whether there's something specific about it. But yes, Vulkan does give us, I guess, equal footing if companies like NVIDIA or other companies follow like what NVIDIA is doing right now, which is they are making Linux, Windows, Android first-class citizens. Everybody is first-class citizen. There is no second-class citizen. They have released drivers for everybody. Like, they've gotten their shit together and they put it out quick. And even Intel has done that. Well, but the funnier part is, Intel released drivers for Linux first. Like, that was the first. They don't even have Windows drivers yet. Like, they're not completed. But if Intel continues to follow suit, like they've done in the past, where they release two separate sets of code, where they have their proprietary drivers and then they have their open drivers, and they allow those two pieces to intermix and work like they've done. Well, technically they don't intermix. They're completely separate. But they allow them to work at the same time. Then we'll be at that same situation where Intel is going to continue to develop and work, especially now that they've got the Iris graphics that they've got, and the fact that they're keeping up with a lot of the lower end graphics, and now they're even hitting mid-range graphics to where they'll be able to just put an Intel chip in, you're good to go, you can play some games, you can do advanced computing, and you're ready to go. And it's starting to get rid of that, quote-unquote, as I call it, Linux tax that you have to deal with. But see, I would rather have a little bit of a Linux tax than have my operating system become HAL, like it's starting to do, like Windows 10 is starting to do. Like, I'm sorry, I don't like what you're doing. I'm uninstalling an application. DirectX 10, DirectX 11, that was one of the reasons that you wanted to go to a more advanced version of Windows. DirectX 12, not really giving me that warm and fuzzy thing inside. It's more making me want to throw up because it's just another iteration. And I said, when DirectX 12, is it?
Well, to be fair, it also was born from the same parent, being Mantle. And it does have the, I don't know, I can't say the same because I don't have that level of intelligence about that subject, but similar low-level API capabilities. It's supposed to. There's no, and DirectX 12 has been released. It's in the wild. There is a game out, but in whole, it's not being used yet either.
Well, and that goes. It goes with time,
right?
And so, in perspective, here's the thing. So I don't talk out of understanding here. When it comes into perspective, though, we'll go back to the point of this. This is one of the issues that I have right now is AMD. I love you, AMD. I really do. I spend my money on your stuff.
He does,
but you're letting me down.
On your stuff.
I did. I spent my hard-earned money on your stuff, right? I like your stuff. Your stuff does great things for me in OpenCL. I mean, it's beautiful what you do for me. But AMD, I have a question. What the fuck? You didn't even release a Windows driver. It's in beta. You don't even... 1.0 came out for Mantle, and there's no Windows driver, unless you want to say beta, and there's no... seriously, there's no Linux driver. That's
we were
jacked
talking
up.
about it earlier. I don't understand. Nobody expected Vulkan to come out the gate and be like, "Oh my God, blow me away! Performance! Everything is, the world is awesome again." And nobody expected that. So my thing is, maybe I just don't have enough understanding. Is why did they just release a driver, something that actually makes Vulkan at least spin? Well, and that would have gone a lot further for their PR, regardless of their technical merit.
Well, and this is what I also don't understand. They created Mantle. You would think they would have had a heads up on everybody else. They would have already been ready as soon as they realized, oh, yeah, we can take advantage of this and da-da-da-da. And I understand that a lot of the AMD-centric features have been removed from Vulkan, and I get that, and that's totally fine, and we want to make it cross-cultural, we want to make it cross-platform, we want to make it, and yes, I used cultural. We want to make it equal, right? We want everybody to play nice together, right? We want some blues, we want some greens, but Red doesn't want to come to the party. Red's like, you took my shit, you made it go away, and now you want me to play with the blue guys and the green guys? Are you kidding me? Just stop the attitude. You're going to lose. something's going to happen and you're going to lose, and then it'll just be Intel. And then Intel's going to continue with the bullshit they're pulling right now, where they disseminate microcode. That's a whole other conversation in itself. But let's just say that bullshit's going to continue if you don't get your shit together.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to make this an AMD episode because lots of people got lots of things to say about AMD. I hope, like I'm sure everybody else does, I know you do, that they pick up their shit and put it back together this year. Not next year, this year. With Zen. The GPUs are doing okay, but I just have a feeling if it continues down this path, the GPU division will be officially split and sold. But yeah, but this is not about AMD and their business practices.
But it is, because they didn't, out of the gate, they didn't show up to the party. But it's not just that. But yeah, I understand. It's not just about AMD. It is about the fact that NVIDIA has gone above and beyond. They have gone 100%. They are, and I don't know why. I don't really know why NVIDIA is doing this, unless they're afraid that Intel is going to continue to gain like they're doing right now. Unless they don't see AMD as the enemy anymore, they see Intel as the enemy. And here's the thing on that. NVIDIA doesn't have a CPU. They don't truly have a CPU. You know, they have they have GPUs, but they don't truly have a CPU. I
don't know if I subscribe to that way of thinking, because I would think that Intel needs to gain more future outlook than NVIDIA does. So NVIDIA has a pretty stable position in what they do. So emerging technologies, VR. CPUs are not going to run VR. You're going to need GPUs. You're going to need pretty hefty fucking GPUs to run that. That the whole self-driving car thing. Maybe SoCs might be the like the portions of that the overall unit, but I think GPUs are pretty much what are truly powering those things. I don't know if that's really, I don't know if they're competing head to head. I don't think that's still a thing right now. They still have very distinctive markets, I would say. Not the same as they were 10 years ago, but still, as the future paths go, distinctive.
Right. Well, and as I've stated in the past, what it really comes to this is that I really do think that APUs are going to be the future. And that's my opinion. Whether anybody else wants to say it or not, and they can contradict me all they want, they can write things on YouTube if they want, I don't care. The point is, in my opinion, APUs are the future. That's where it's going. And here's the thing, if Mantle can take advantage of that, which is what they did originally to try to do, then that means that Vulkan could take advantage of that, and it would give us even better performance, meaning that you would have you would have the ability to take advantage of 4 cores straight up, and you would be able to take care of 4 cores, you'd be able to take care of the actual onboard usage of the GPU that's in it. So, I don't know. It really goes to the point of this, is that if the engineering is still in there to take full advantage of it, because, I mean, the thing is, that's what an SoC is. It's basically that, but it's designed a little bit different. But basically that's what it is. It's a CPU and a GPU together.
Right. All right. We're getting close to 15 minutes, so let's touch on a couple things real quick. Gabe Newell, praise Gaben, of course. He is obviously the reason why there's gaming. At this magnitude, gaming on Linux. So, back when Windows 8 was released, he was like, Windows Store, no, fuck that. Walled Gardens, no, fuck that. So let's see if we can spin up our own Linux thing. So then that happened, and he threw some pretty public shots at Microsoft for doing what they did. Fast forward to now with Vulkan, and he's still throwing shots, I guess. So let's read the quote here from Softpedia. It says here Gabe Newell made some comments about Windows, although he didn't name it. So, start quote, "We are extremely pleased that the industry's rapid execution rapid execution on the Vulkan API initiative. Due to Vulkan's cross-platform availability, high performance and healthy open source ecosystem, we expect to see rapid uptake by software developers, far exceeding the adaptation of similar APIs, which are limited to specific operating systems." Oh, wow. I wonder what he's talking about. So yeah, Gabe Newell is pulling no punches and letting the Redmond guys know we don't care for your ish. And he is the man with power, so I'm glad he's on our side.
Right. Well, that excerpt is actually taken from the actual Kronos group itself on their actual website. So on February 16, 2016, there's actually something written up on the actual Kronos website, and that's one of the statements that's actually on there. But basically, when they're talking about Vulkan 1.0 and the different things, and then, but here's the thing: this is why I believe NVIDIA is, and as I said, why NVIDIA is trying to go full tilt on this is because Neil Trevitt is the president of the Kronos Group, and he's the vice president of NVIDIA.
That's
so.
That's a conflict of interest, sort of.
But it's not, because in a way, it's not a conflict of interest. It does explain some things, but at the same time, if we have good, healthy competition with DirectX 12, and we do have good, healthy competition across the platforms, and we still have OpenGL, and we still have usage with it, then I guess as long as the hardware manufacturers are willing to support, it doesn't really matter. It's just when they don't all come to the game. And that's the thing. That's when we lose. That's when we lose out, is when they don't all play. So, I don't know.
Very true. Very true. Speaking of all play, so one of the strengths of OpenGL and Vulkan, specifically Vulkan here, in the future, is that it is it's platform agnostic. It'll run on almost anything. Anything including PPSSPP emulator, which basically is a PSP emulator. The guys, the developers over at PPSSPP, what a stupid name. But anyway, the guys over there who make this PSP emulator are embracing Vulkan. Which is, and this emulator runs on, let me see, and looks like it just says personal computers and mobile devices.
Right. Sure. So basically x86 and ARM.
Right.
So you're So.
Okay. I went to their website. It runs on Android, iOS, Windows, Linux. So damn near everything, like you said. So that's awesome, because that's one of the things that is, if you're an emulator user, that's one of the things that you know is that even a game console that's 20 years old can completely murder a moderate PC desktop. Any type of performance help that you can get there is very welcome for the emulator guys, especially if you're trying to build a replicate type system. Like if you're trying to build, say, Super Nintendo, you want to put it in a small form factor box, make it look like a small console, and not take up a lot of space. Well, you can't put a 980 in there, and can't have the latest i7 that's dumping out all kinds of heat and all that good stuff. So that's good to hear. It's being embraced at every angle.
Right. Well, okay. So we'll go back to the point. Okay. So as I said, you've got the SoC and you've got the APUs. If we continue to have a strength in those two sets, and then people can easily port games directly across from building it on an x86 system and then being able to just pull the code and put it on an APU, and then pull the code and turn around and put it on a ARM-based processor. I mean, the ARM-based processors now are becoming 64-bit. They are, basically there's not, I mean, the performance is there. You've got 1.7 gigahertz, you've got 8-core versions, you've got NVIDIA graphics embedded in some of them. So I don't know. I mean, there's the blurring of the line, and the Vulkan is just adding that extra level of blurring of the line between an x86 system and an ARM system, and what's capable. And for Linux, that's awesome, because about 80%, if not 90%, of all ARM architecture has Linux running on top of it.
Well, here's something to blow your mind. The new Nintendo, or the rumored Nintendo that's supposed to come out next, called the Nintendo NX, will support, now remember, this is from Tweaktown and it is labeled a rumor, but will support Frostbite, Unreal Engine 4, and Unity. Furthermore, it would also support Vulkan. Now that would be quite a change in Nintendo's business model, for starters. But like I said, well, why this is important? Because I'm not buying a Nintendo. But why is this important? Because if you get everybody on the same API, that means if I am a guy who wants to target my games at Nintendo, I have the new amazing Oh My God game on Nintendo, and I want to make a few more bucks, I can port it to Windows, because Vulkan support. Then I can also port it to SteamOS, because Vulkan support. If it's a small game, I can port it to Android or iOS. This gives developers a lot more latitude to make choices, and gives users a lot more power of their own, because then the necessary amount of hardware won't be as high. I'm liking this. I'm liking that everybody's jumping on board. Once again, this is a rumor, but I still like the idea.
And then, and that's great. But yeah, Vulkan seems like it's going to change the game. I think it's going to be. That's where the disadvantage now for DirectX 12 will be the fact that it's limited. It's not going to be going to OS X like Vulkan. It's not going to be running on Linux like Vulkan. It's literally going to be limited to Windows. So if a game developer or a game engine developer, someone who designs a game engine that they know a bunch of other people are going to use, implements the ability to just plug and go with Vulkan API, that means a bunch of other people will just be able to plug and go. They'll be able to use the game engine. The game engine automatically works, and all they got to do now is click a button. And now they're on Android. Now they're on Windows. Now they're on Linux. Now they're on Steam. That's more money.
Well, here's an interesting bit. Make this our last point of interest for this episode. But we were talking about Ubuntu earlier, and 1604, the LTS, the long-term, what is it called? Long-term what?
LTS, long-term service. Or support, long-term support.
Long-term support, there you go.
Can't believe I said service.
That's what I was thinking, and it just sounded wrong, so I didn't say anything.
Well, I'm sorry.
But yeah, so Ubuntu 1604 LTS will be coming out with Mir. We're talking vanilla Ubuntu with Unity. It will have Mir, and one of the questions about Mir, which is another part for those who don't know, and Ubuntu is another part of the graphics stack. So one of the questions is, will the hardware vendors support it? Well, apparently, according to the Softpedia article, Mir also has Vulkan support in 1604 at launch. How awesome is that? And it's even more awesome because Ubuntu, vanilla Ubuntu, is the unofficial supported Steam OS. Not Steam OS. I shouldn't say that. The unofficially supported operating system and desktop that Steam says go get if you want to play Steam games on Linux. If that's not vague enough for you. But yeah, that's pretty amazing, and that also starts to branch off to other things. Their convergence, whole idea with their phones and mirror, and that means that should have Vulkan support also, etc., 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 more etc.
Right. Well, they've been Ubuntu has been engineering support for Vulkan since somewhere in July of last year. They've actually had some test releases and stuff, and actually if you run 15.10 you can pull packages in and actually test it and play with it. But there's caveats to that. So yes, waiting for 16.04 and then having the drivers there, as long as you're not using AMD, having the drivers there ready to go out of the box, it's going to be awesome. But
Indeed.
Yeah. But that does give advantage to people like Mint and others that are downstream from Ubuntu, and they'll be able to bring that stuff into themselves and be able to implement it. So,
see, I don't think outside of Ubuntu with Unity, I don't think anything else in the Ubuntu universe will be supporting Mirror at all. KDE has pretty much said it's Wayland. GNOME said it's Wayland. The guy who runs Mint, can't think of his name, Clyde, whatever. Probably butchering, messing up his name. But that guy, Clem, that's it. Clem said it's going to be Wayland. And I said, I don't want to get a long discussion about Mirror, but I don't understand. I do understand Ubuntu's tactics, but I don't understand.
Well, aside from it being crazy, Mirror is designed basically so that you have a unification for their graphics stack between their mobile and their desktop. It's basically, I'm sugarcoating it, and people can argue with me and tell me, oh no, that's not it.
Send your hate mail to AdSystrom.
Just to what?
Send all the hate mail to AdSystrom.
No, don't send all the hate mail to me. All right? I'm human, I'm not perfect, and not everything I say is 100% correct all the time. So there are those moments. But hey, if you have an issue or a concern with what I say, bring your backup for your information. Don't just send me hate mail. Actually state what it is that I said that was incorrect and bring that information up. Don't just rattle and say, oh, well, because it's not good for the community. It's not. Because here's the thing. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to give you information so that you have the ability to have an informed decision when you decide to do something. And that's the point of the community. That's what we're here for. We're not here to assimilate. We're not Borg, all right? We're not here to tell you this, and then assimilate you and you everything. We're here to give you information and provide information for you, and then you make the decision from there. And if you have issues, concerns, or questions, that's fine. I will answer them. But I'm not perfect, so don't come and say, hey, well, he's talking out his ass. No, I'm not talking out my ass. I'm not perfect, and I don't always know everything. So if you have a question or a concern, just ask. But don't down on everybody else, because that's not good for the community. It's not good for any community. And yeah, I make fun of Windows, and that's fine. But if somebody has trouble with Windows, I will help them. I'll give them no advice. I'm sorry, I'm taking this as a platform set, Osiris. I do apologize. It's just that it bothers me when people do that in a community, and it's not good for us. So,
word.
Anyway, aside from that,
I hear that. On that PSA announcement, that'll be our show for today. Real quick, so you can find us at linuxtechandgaming.com. Go there, find the old videos, see other things, see Atomic's videos, see Osiris's videos. That's me.
Yeah, Osiris's videos are awesome. You should definitely check out the last video that was uploaded by us. There is humor to be had. Mo bullets, man. Just remember, Mo bullets.
Yes. Search bullets in our channel. the Linux Tech and Gaming channel. Oh, by the way, if you haven't noticed, I don't think we ever officially announced this, but we are now uploading gameplay, which is not going to replace the show. So don't worry about that.
But when we don't have opportunity to have all of us together, we're still going to try to do content like this, especially when it's content that we feel is important and we think people should hear about it and should understand what's going on. We'll at least try to cover it. We can't always guarantee it's going to be on Wednesday, though. Sorry.
Amen to that. So, yes, LinuxTechandGaming.com. Oh, and Twitter. Yes, we have Twitters. I gotta go. It's Linux_tag. Don't ask me why it's that name. Well, I know why it's that name, but whatever. Linux_tag. And once again, you find me at player.me/Osiris to get all my social media contents. And if you just don't want to do that, Twitter is at Osiris.
And I'm at Systrom. Yeah, I'm at Systrom.
And he's just at Systrom.
But yeah, so keep an eye out though on the tag, because occasionally when we're playing video games, we want you guys to join us. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. We love to play Insurgency. That is a game you should play, and maybe we'll play more if I can get them to run on my graphics card.
We've been
looking at you, AMD.
We've been kind of playing more games lately. Yes, lots of Insurgency. Also, we play games with the 18GC guys. So which
are awesome. Those guys are awesome.
If you need people to play with, I'll leave links in the description. It's just easier that way. Or on screen. Yeah, cool. I'll probably edit this video, so probably on screen too. So whatever. That's our show. Episode number 42. Linux Tech and Gaming. And that's it. Peace.
42.
We're out.